Alone, listless, breakfast table at an otherwise empty room. Young violence, center of own attention. Mother reads a loud child and tries to understand it, tries to make her proud. The shades go down into her head, painted room, can't deny there's something wrong. Don't call me daughter, not fed to the picture meant to remind me. Don't call me. What's up?
Keep singing, man. It's funny because I never knew the words to that song ever, and I never understood.
I didn't either.
no idea what Eddie Vedder says ever. And so,
do you remember Adam Sandler would do these amazing Eddie Vedder Saturday Night Live?
Right. Yep.
I loved it. It's like dabba 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 doo ba dabba 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 dee.
No idea. Him, Kurt Cobain, no idea what they're saying. No clue.
Oh man! Well, hey guys, welcome to the Greatness Machine. I'm your host Darius Mirshahzadeh, and boy, do we have an amazing show for you today. Our friend Justin Breen is here. Did I pronounce your last name properly?
You did.
Oh man, I love getting names right. Well, Justin, welcome to the show, my friend.
I'm pumped, man. I haven't heard that song in so long, but you asked me, what I listened to in high school, and I graduated in 95, and I'm like, I just remember everybody driving their cars. A lot of people at my high school had convertibles, so they were driving with that song blasting constantly. And that CD came in like the regular like plastic case, and then had a special like paper one that you would fold out,
Yeah.
So that was like a very big deal back in the early to mid 90s.
Oh man, I probably haven't sang that song since I was in like early college or high school, but
Right.
I was glad to do it for you. Do you mind if I do a little bit of housekeeping?
Yes.
Guys, welcome to the Greatness Machine. I'm your host Darius Mirshahzadeh, and for those of you guys that are new to the show, the show's about two things. We're about change makers who are living their passions to create greatness in the world, and our friend Justin is neither short of greatness nor passion. And I'm really excited to get into some amazing things that he's up to. But before we go there, a couple things. Guys, start a watch party. So how that works is you click share at the bottom of the screen, start a watch party, get other people to watch. This is going to be an episode where we're learning all about connecting people the way that Justin knows how to connect the change makers in his life, and all about his company, Brepic, that we'll be talking about here in a moment. But start a watch party. Ask questions, guys. I got my team on standby. Jade is here. She'll be taking questions, sending them over our way. And then also, look, hit the like button. If you like what we're talking about, let us know. Drop questions, drop comments. We're just going to be chopping it up, rocking it out, doing a little bit of Eddie Vedder maybe here and there. And with that said, man, I just want to give you guys a quick intro on my man Justin and his bio. Justin's the #1 best-selling author of Epic Business, which I just found out has the foreword is by Chris Voss, who I freaking love. If you've not read his book, Never Split the Difference, it is a freaking must read. Justin has 20 years of experience in the media business. He's the founder and CEO of Brepic Communications LLC, a company that works to grow your business brand with expert social media postings, crafting click-worthy stories created by local, regional, and national media, and successfully pitching them to outlets, providing customer service second to none. He's won dozens of editing and writing awards, and is the author of countless viral stories. My man, welcome to the show.
Yo, I'm pumped, man. Very pumped.
So Justin hit me up on Facebook, and I saw we had a bunch of friends in common, and he's like, hey, and you have a show yourself, is that correct?
I actually don't, because I do so many podcasts, but I have not done my own podcast yet, but that's probably in the works coming.
Yeah, I think you do so many. I literally thought you had one. I was like, oh, cool, man. Like, he's an EO guy, and he's an entrepreneur, and he wrote a book, and we got some similar paths going on there. And I'm like, yeah, this guy seems cool and interesting. And then I noticed that then he lives in Illinois, and then I noticed that he's like friends with. Oh no! Then you hit me up because you were at Christy Babe's house. This girl that I went to college with is like his neighbor, and I was like, dude, this is meant to be. We got to chop it up and learn about each other and what we're doing. So, man, I'm so pumped to have you on the show. Welcome.
It's all about It's mindset one, network two, everything else follows. So this is a prime example of that. We have very similar mindsets and huge networks. So that's why we're talking.
Yeah. So man, walk us through. Let's go back. Like before the show started, I said, "Oh, where'd you go to school?" Because we're talking about Chrissy and how she and I went to UC Davis, and you said you went to the University of Illinois. And I said, "Oh, did you do the entrepreneurial program there?" You're like, "No, but I got an entrepreneurship afterwards." So bring us back. How did you become an entrepreneur? You went to school. What happened?
Sure. So I grew up in a pretty affluent community, got a full academic scholarship to college. So in terms of my brain, I'm fairly intelligent. Never heard the word entrepreneur one time growing up, never heard it in college, not one time. And so very excited that COVID is forcing higher ed to think more entrepreneurial. So I'll get that off. But if you want to call the term accidental entrepreneur, I was a journalist for 20 years, created my entire business model based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. But the timeline is February 10th, 2017. I was working full-time as a journalist, had my job salary cut in half just due to cutbacks. I tried to find a full-time job, couldn't find one. April 16th, 2017, I incorporated my company, which is called Brepic. And while I was working full-time at half the salary, next 6 weeks, reached out to 5,000 people to get my first 5 clients. Got my 5th client like June 1st, 2017, resigned from my job the next day. And then Robert Feeder, he's the top media columnist in the Midwest, did a story. I started my own firm June 5th, 2017. So here we are.
Dude, I love that story. That's such an entrepreneurial story. So for those of you guys that didn't just pick up what he just put down,
right?
My man
I
here,
talk fast, man.
no, dude. Like my man here, never been an entrepreneur, been in journalism, which is it's a grind and it's a hard business, but every business is hard in its own way. But that's its own brand of hardness. Yep. My man here gets MF'd by his business. Which and you guys all know I should have just said what I always like to say, but since we're new, it's a new relationship, I won't drop the F-bombs quite yet. Maybe if you're okay with
okay. My son's more than any adult I know. So.
Yeah, Justin got motherfucked by his business. February 10th. They're like, hey, bro, happy early Valentine's Day. You can buy your wife nothing this year.
Right.
And here's a little heart with half a heart, with half a paycheck to go with it. Dude, my man here on February 10th gets MF'd by his company, and within 4 months starts his own business. That side hustles the whole way. Side hustle. And I'm guessing you have children, right? How old are your children?
Yeah, so they're 8 and 6 now. At the time, they were 2 and 3.
Yeah. So it's not like you had some mouths to feed, right? So I'll be honest with you. So I've had to make cuts in my business before. You want to know what my rule? I've never, ever once cut a person's salary. I cut people, not salaries. Because I was like, dude, that's not even okay because people have to pay their bills. So as an entrepreneur, I don't agree with that. I'm like, no, you cut and you pay the good people what they need to live, and you do more with less. That's the way I see it. So I'm offended by the way your business handled that.
It's the best day of my life, by the way, by far.
No, they did you a huge favor, but what is it? What is it? Necessity is the mother of all invention, right?
Right.
So my man side hustles at half the salary, makes it happen, launches with 5 clients. Dude, walk us through that. Like the day did you see that coming?
Fuck no.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No. I mean, I'm just a very accomplished journalist and worked my entire life to get to that Chicago level. Again, very thankful. Loved working for that company. It was DNA Info. I'm very thankful for that job. Certainly will never say a bad word. I mean, it was a great time there, and thank God my salary was cut in half because a couple months later the company was shut down.
They were just on a desk.
You can look up why that happened. But just
what was the name of the company again?
DNA Info. But yeah, so and I had started. It was shut down right Thanksgiving of that year, and I had resigned in June. So, but yeah, I mean, I was always what you would call an intrapreneur. Like, they would give me these weird jobs any company I ever worked at because they didn't know what to do with me. I was just always entrepreneurial thinking. And what I found during this process of owning a company the last 3.5 years, I was really always meant for this. but I'm glad I got those 2 decades of very strong journalism foundation, and it's helped me carve my path in this world.
Well, it's funny. So I'm assuming since you're steeped in EO, so for those of you that don't know, EO's Entrepreneurs Organization, and I'm guessing you joined EO once you started your business. Is that a fair assumption?
So that's incorrect, actually. And I'm glad you asked that, because the first year or two, I was in these lower level thinking groups, and I was like an alien in those. I go, I think like this. I think on a global level. I only want to work with visionaries. My rates were way higher than anyone else in those groups. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? And what I had found is that I just wasn't in the right group. I wasn't in the right tribe. So the first higher level group I had joined is called Provisors, which is a national group. That led me to join Strategic Coach, which really changed my life. That's Dan Sullivan.
Dan Sullivan, yeah.
Yeah, so Dan Sullivan is my hero. I think he's maybe the greatest person alive right now. He's 76. I aspire to be like him and have his mindset and his connectivity. And then from there, folks in Strategic Coach are like, oh, join EO. And so I'm the very rare entrepreneur that has high quick start, boom, 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 and high follow through. So I just say it, do it, say it, do it. So when people tell me to do something, I just do it. There's no hesitation. And
what's your quick start score?
So I'm 8.671 in Colby. I'm an 8 fact finder, 6 follow through, which for an entrepreneur, that's insanely high.
Yeah.
That's insanely high. I'm a 7 quick start and a 1 implementer. So if you ask me to build something or do a puzzle with my kids, I can't do it. And
dude,
what's your score?
6.383.
Yep. So that's a very typical entrepreneurial score. You have high quick start and little to no follow through, and that's why you hire a bunch of people or folks with yours. And so I just hit the gas, pump the brakes, hit the gas, pump the brakes, and so but the implementer, it's so low. People with my implementer score were called futurists. So like I can see 10 years into the future.
Right.
I just can't assemble it. I can't do it. And so I need right. It doesn't need it. I just want to fly the plane. I don't want to land the plane. I just want to fly the plane. So I understand that completely.
So it sounds like you joined EO last, and when was that?
So that's another good question. I joined EO in January, and so I've had 2 in-person meetings. And technically, I haven't joined EO last because I just joined this group called Abundance 360, which is Peter Diamandis' group, and I'm really excited about that one. Because 99% of the folks in the level that I'm at are running $10 million to $10 billion businesses. Every now and then they'll let a wackadoo like me in there because my mindset is right there.
Real high, yeah.
That's right there with those people. Whether my revenue gets to that, I don't really care. But I have to be in a room with people who think at that level at all times.
That's a badass conference. So for those of you that don't know what Abundance 360 is, I have a very good friend. I'll introduce you to him. His name's Chris Ripley. He was the 3rd guest on the show.
There's another book too that Peter wrote. This book's really good. So
yeah, so you guys, Peter Diamandis is a really famous futurist. He runs Singularity University out of the Bay Area. We had their head of leadership was on the show, Robert Ellis. He's from Singularity, but so I didn't know. So Peter Diamandis does Abundance 360. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, that's his thing. So it was. I had the first call. I joined like 2 weeks ago. So the first summit call was Dr. Peter, me, and then 15 of the most. I can't even tell you how brilliant these people were, and super successful, obviously financially, but their minds. And so we were talking about how the technology is pretty much here where people are going to be living to 200, if not 250 years old, or forever. And so, 3.5 years ago, when I started my company, that would have sounded like a maniac talking. But now I'm just like, oh, that's just the room I'm in all the time. And so I just spend a lot of my day talking to brilliant people like you, and we just have these amazing conversations. Byproduct is my company's insanely profitable. But it's all about the right people. It's finding the right tribe. And so my quest is constantly to find people like you.
Constantly. Yeah, I love it, man. And I love it. And so I had this conversation. I've had this conversation. So I got in EO in 06. Similar conversations that you had, I had. Different groups. I got into what was then called Birthing a Giants. Now it's called Entrepreneurial Masters Program through EO. The reason it was called Birthing a Giants was that EO actually didn't own it. Inc. Magazine, EO, and MIT Enterprise Forum. It was a co-conference for the 3 of them. I actually applied through Inc. magazine, and I was the only non-EOer in the group. Vern Harnish, the author of Scaling Up, is who created the program. And there's some really amazing people that came out of that program. I mean, like some major hitters. And so I get there. This is in 06. I'm running a $10 million company that I built from the ground up when I was like 25.
Right.
I had no freaking clue what I was doing.
Right. Entrepreneur life.
Total, right? And so everyone's like, are you an EO? Are you an EO? And I'm like, what's EO? And they're like, you should join EO. So I appreciate how you got there. I'm having a conversation with my buddy Chris Ripley in March last year, and he's like, just got back, or whenever the Abundance 360 conference was, and we're having the exact conversation that you just said. He's like, well, what if Half-Life was really 80 years old?
Right.
What if that's Half-Life? What if we need to, because a lot of people have this thought around, oh, I'm gonna work till I'm 60, then I'm gonna retire and die when I'm 80.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
What if I said you could live an amazing life to your point, until I'm 150, 160, 200, and Half-Life is really 100.
Right.
What would you do differently today if you knew
100%. And so Dan Sullivan, again, who's my hero, he wants to live to 156. So he's 76. He's almost halfway. He's going to have a big party when that happens. I'm a futurist, so he'll probably update that age to 200, or if not 200, if not indefinitely. And he was telling, I listened to his podcast every day. And he was saying something super interesting that he wants his company to be super profitable, so he has the funds to invest in this healthcare technology where he will be allowed to, prolong his life. That's his main goal, or one of his main goals, is that he has enough money to invest in this technology that is super expensive now. Eventually it won't be, but now it's, millions and millions of dollars to invest in this type of thing that will help you live for a long time now.
So I want to ask you a question about this, because what's funny is I know a lot of people that know Dan Sullivan, and I've never actually listened to him and done his work, so I'm going to check him out.
Oh my God, dude. The best of the best.
It seems silly that I haven't, but I know a bunch of people have done Strategic Coach, and I've heard great things, and for some reason it just hasn't.
What's your Colby again?
It's 6383.
That's a really interesting Colby.
Yeah, we'll go there, but I want to talk to you about living forever. So I had this conversation on an EO retreat. I have one of my forum mates, Jeff Shocks. Jeff, if you're listening, you should come on the show. He won't. He's a little bit shy, but he won't come on the show. But he's a brilliant guy. He's one of the top IP attorneys in venture capital. He runs artificial intelligence, automative car automation VC in the Bay Area, and he's probably the
I'd love to talk to him, man.
Yeah, I will. I'll make an intro for you.
Thanks, man.
And Shocks, if you're listening to this, you know this is true, and I know you don't like when people say this. He's one of the top, if not the top, IP attorney in Silicon Valley. He's a stud, professor at Stanford, one of my best friends.
So he's an entrepreneur who happens to be an attorney.
Who happens to just teach at Stanford for that.
Right, whatever, right.
Whatever. Yeah. Shocks, I love you, my man. So he and I are talking. We're at an EO retreat in Reno, and we start talking about how our kids might be the first generation to live forever.
I was having this conversation yesterday. The same conversation.
So this is what I said to him. I'm going to you right now. This is like 4 years ago. I said, how bad would it fucking suck to be the last generation to die?
Right.
God damn it. I missed it by 20 years. Right. Eternal life. But then I said something else. So I want to get your opinion on this.
Yes.
Dude, do we actually really want to live forever? Would you actually want to do it if you could? Think about that.
My wife would 100%. I know that for a fact. If I could connect with people like you and continually expand my mind and my mindset, then the answer is yes. Yep. If there's a limit to that, then the answer would be no, because I'm on a constant. I never get tired of having these conversations. It's endless rocket fuel for me, because most people, even most entrepreneurs, they're looking at things in a transactional way. They're not looking at things, and they're looking at things business. They're not looking at things in a mindset and network way. And you and I, we're up here. And so having these conversations up here, that is, it's endlessly thrilling to me, because I'm assuming there's endless possibilities. And what I like about being A360 and some of these other groups is that you see you see what's actually really happening and what mankind is capable of, and how very quickly, how exponentially technology is evolving. And it's super exciting because it's basically limitless. It's just, even in the last year, in the last 6 months, and it'll just keep going in that direction. So I'm very excited to see where society goes, and how it evolves, and what innovations mankind comes up with. And especially you look since COVID, man, it's been, obviously I empathize. My wife's a pediatrician. I had empathized with a lot of things that are going on. I've had a client that's almost died from it. I know people that have almost died from it. And that said, this has provided the greatest opportunity for people with the right mindset, at the highest level mindset, and it's only going to continue to lead in that direction. And I'm very excited to see where society goes from here. So
I want to talk about your firm. And what's funny is when I get people on the show with the mindset you have, we generally don't talk about the businesses that much.
No, never. No, I never talk about I don't even talk about what I do unless people ask.
Yeah. Like I mean, I talk about.
It doesn't matter.
But I do want to promote some of your stuff because obviously you're doing some cool stuff. But I actually want to go into this. Have you heard of this book called Fourth Turning by Howe, Howe?
No, but please send me that because I'd like to read.
So I'm going to look up his first name here for a second. But before we go there, I want to hear about I want to talk about the fourth turning. So remind me when we get done to talk about the fourth turning.
I'm writing this in the private chat. Like I'm actually, which I never do, by the way, but since we're both, I do want to, and if I follow through, so I put that stuff in there. Chris Ripley, I put your Colby score in there, and then fourth turning. So I put all that in.
All right, so it's by Neil Howe and William Strauss, and so we'll talk. We're gonna talk about the fourth turning because I think, dude, I can't believe we're gonna talk about the fourth turning and living forever. This is gonna be an awesome conversation. I'm gonna put the pause button there, but I want to go to your book and your business, dude. So tell me about your business because I have kind of like had bad experiences working with PR. and I'm going to try to talk to the least amount of shit as I can because I've had some.
Oh, it's fine. I don't understand what PR firms do. I've never understood it.
Yeah, walk me through like a person wants to get out there and get their, like I just did my book, right? And I have a PR firm and they're working hard and the results are like, they're in a tough cycle, news cycle right now because of the election.
Yep.
And they did some great work for my other friend and they're working their asses off, but like it's been a tough pill for me to swallow. I'm like, man, I made a mistake by doing this during the election. I think that I really actually like them, but I just think it was, they're working their ass off and the results aren't where I want them to be. So tell me, like, how do you work with a PR firm or what, like I come to you and say, hey man, I got my book, The Core Value Equation. I want this thing to crush it. Mm-hmm. I want to become this much bigger thought leader. Mm-hmm. How do you approach that? Because I see them out there pitching their asses off and we're getting some traction, but not where I would hope. What do you think?
So I've seen this from a firsthand perspective because of my book, and I see it from a client perspective. And I think you'll appreciate this background. I will try not to ramble, but it's important. So I just wrote a column for Inc. magazine through my connections with EO, because they have that, about how to build a global network, how to create a company from nothing in a couple of years. And I didn't know what an LLC stood for. I'd never heard the word entrepreneur. I didn't know what a W-9 was. I had no idea what you had to pay taxes 4 times a year when I started this. Literally knew nothing. Took no business classes, zero business experience. Now I have a global company that only works with the top minds in the world. So that's what the column was about. And so as background, since I've started my company, and even before, I've talked to some of the most brilliant people in the world. Hundreds, if not thousands, of some of the top entrepreneurs in the world. And so when you talk to people like this over and over, you see these patterns that emerge. And so the pattern that always emerges, always, not sometimes, always, is that it's a very simple formula for building a successful global company. So here it is. This is it. And this isn't a column.
Do it. I want to hear it. I'm going to take notes.
Okay, this is it. You see a problem, you create solution to problem solved, successful global company. So that is literally all I did in the PR space. I was a journalist for 20 years, created my entire business model based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. So saw a problem, created solution to problem solved, successful global company. So, and I only work with people with these three attributes in their mindset. If they don't have these three attributes, I will not work with them. They must be visionaries, they must look at things as investments, and they must have abundance mindset. Otherwise, it goes horribly wrong very quickly. And so people with those three attributes, they're either running high 6-figure to 10-figure businesses. They see their families whenever they want to. They do what they like to do and what they're good at. Or they're not one of those first people yet, but they will be because they have those mindsets. So it weeds out all the noise, all the nonsense.
Yeah.
So in terms of what my company does, which I will talk about because you brought it up, is so as a journalist, the problem is you receive hundreds of press releases every single day from people you don't know. Right. Okay.
Makes sense.
Right. That is a problem. So my firm creates newsworthy stories similar to what I did as a journalist. It becomes a link on the client's website under news or blog. So it looked like a story you see in the San Francisco Chronicle or the New York Times or whatever. And then I take that link, pitch it to media all over the world. If media's interested, put them in touch with the client. That's literally all my firm does. Problem solved. So it works with any business size, any location, any vertical. It does not matter where you're located. It does not matter what vertical you're in. It doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur, company as big as Allstate, because it solves the problem. So that is why my company is a successful global company. Now, here is something that I think is even more relevant to what you just said and how I've seen it from a firsthand perspective and from a client perspective. And literally this applies to you for what we're doing right now. Podcasts are replacing mainstream media in terms of importance and relevance. Podcasts like these, and here's why. 3 reasons. Again, I've seen it from a firsthand perspective and a client perspective. 1, the host is almost always entrepreneurial, not a journalist. So someone like you is going to ask me questions that a regular journalist would never even think of. They would not be talking about living through forever. And so I'm an entrepreneur who happens to be a journalist, not a journalist who's a journalist. There's a very big difference there. 2, you can do a deep dive on the subject. You get 30, 45, 60 minutes. You really get to know not only the subject, but the host. 3, by far the most important is that the audience, although not necessarily as large, is far more qualified. A regular person's probably not going to listen to this. Maybe they would, but I don't know. They probably wouldn't understand most of what we're talking about, which is fine. So it's a higher quality lead in terms of the types of people you're trying to help. They're listening to this they're listening to this podcast. And the 4th thing that I've learned, like, okay, I've been on the Today Show, fine, whatever. It's great being in those types of things, but it's how you leverage the media opportunities afterwards. So it's about creating relationships through being on these types of podcasts. It's about you and I saying, oh my God, we love each other. Now we got to introduce each other to these other types of people. So the media part, that's fine. But it's really the relationships and high value connectivity you create by actually being on the podcast or being in the media, which is the real long-term play. And so I've noticed you haven't interrupted me once because I think you're really like, holy shit, this is incredible information. And that's what I've learned since writing this book, being in media all the time from a firsthand perspective and then from a client perspective. And it's actually very exciting because these podcasts, they're not going anywhere. And again, some of them might not have a big audience now, but then you interview someone super famous and then everybody subscribes and then binge listening. And then 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, people reach out to you. And that's the really exciting part. So it's not necessarily results now, it's results long play. And that is really exciting. Again, I'm a futurist, and that's what's really exciting because the seeds I've planted now since COVID, since 2020 on a global level with some of the most brilliant people on earth, it's the fruit that's going to bear from those seeds that are planted, it's going to be out of this world, man.
I love it, man. You and I see things so much
We're the same person, man. I mean, this is the first time we've really talked, but So when you find the right people, it becomes a big, small world. And so someone asked me the other day, they're like, so what is your goal? I go, well, I just only want to work with the top 0.1% of mindsets in the world. I don't care if they're broke or they're running $10 trillion companies. I don't care. But I only want to work with those type of people with those mindsets, is because those are the people that will have the most impact overall. So by helping those people, that you just help the world, because those are the people that are creating the technologies and the companies and the pivoting that are going to employ 1 billion people, 2 billion people, 3 billion people, or the ones that create the technology that allow people to live forever. So we're having conversations like this that are not pie in the sky, they're actually happening.
Yeah, that's super cool. You got me so fired up right now.
I know, man. This is what I mean. I would have this conversation at 2 a.m. and I would have it when I'm 150. I would never get tired of that.
Yeah, and you made a great point. And this is what I said: is I said, look, if you're living in pain or you're living in sick, like, yeah, I don't want to be old and sick and not being able to do what I want to do. I had on the show, I don't know, 2 months ago, Dandipani. You know him?
I do not. Would love to.
Yeah, check him out. You check out the show; it's on YouTube. He was a Hindu monk that lived in a monastery for a while, and now he's a very, very popular speaker in YPO and EO, and he's a buddy of mine. I got to know him. He spoke at TEDx Reno, and he has his TEDx talk that's a famous talk now. And my friend, who's one of my former mates, brought him in, and I met him, and then I hired him to come to my firm, to my company that I just exited this year, and he did a workshop around focus and concentration for our team. And Dandipani and I were talking, and he said, we were talking about purpose. And he was saying, your purpose should not be action-oriented, because there will be a point in your life when maybe you can't do some of the things for others, but you got to just do it for yourself. It's at end of life that's probably at some point, whether you're living to 300 or 1 billion, if you live to 1 billion, maybe that's less of an issue. But, but hey, man, 100 to 220 was great, but I'll tell you, things started going downhill.
Got a long way to go. Got a long way to go from 220 to 1 billion.
Oh man, I noticed midlife around 400, things really got. My sex life went way downhill at 500.
Yoda had a good run. I think he was like 800, wasn't he? Something like that.
But yeah, he was just bringing up that you should design your core purpose around. Not necessarily around mindset, unless around physical ability, which it actually goes against what we're talking about if you want to live forever. But it was a thoughtful way, because I told him my core purpose is to live a poetic life, one that creates engagement for those around me and myself. And he said, "Wow." He said you shouldn't make it around for those around you, because what if when you're older and you can't get out of the house and you can't do that, you don't want to lose that purpose. And I said, "Oh, okay." So it was just you made me think of that right now, but.
Do you want to hear my? Keep talking, but so I'm opening up LinkedIn just because I want to read it exactly correct. But I
butchered mine a little bit at the end. But the Live a Poetic Life, one that creates engagement for myself and those around me, as well as. Yeah.
Okay, well that's God. You and I are like creepily similar. Sorry for the dinging, but let me.
You're good. You're good.
All right. Okay. So here's my. So this is it. Transforming lives and businesses by connecting every visionary, investment, abundance mindset entrepreneur and sharing their stories with the world. So that's it.
I love it, man. Dude, I love it. I love how your actions are a representation of that purpose.
So again, because I have high quick start and high follow through, I say it, do it. So I actually follow through on that. That's the big difference. So
what do you Let me ask you a question. So I wanted to go to the fourth turning, but before we go,
right.
Yeah, before we go there, though, you. What I love about my show, my favorite thing about doing this show is, first of all, like those of you that I'm going to admit something to the entire audience, which shouldn't be a surprise at all. I have zero prep for these shows.
Like, no, me too.
Negative prep.
All organic.
Yeah, like I don't like, and what's funny is there's people who have like probably a high fact finder Colby score that are like, what questions are you going to ask? I'm like,
I have a very high fact finder. So I've interviewed tens of thousands of people as a journalist. I'd never come prepared with questions. I've never done that.
I figure we'll chop it up and figure it out, But I got friends that are like, hey, can you send me what topics we're going to talk about? I'm like, are you actually creating work for me right now?
Hey, oh my God.
I'm like, why do I have to? I said, I don't know. If you're a person that's halfway interesting, we'll have a great talk. I already know.
100%.
Even if you're not halfway interesting, I could probably make up for it on my side. And so it's funny that some people need that. But no, I don't prepare at all for this show. And so what's funny is that Justin and I literally probably met each other for 3 minutes before we went live on this show. And here we are just chopping it up. And what I love about the show is I go into crazy rabbit holes with people. Crazy. Like
this is crazy to me. This all makes perfect sense.
We just got to learn so much from each other. So sometimes I don't even know. I don't know where the show's going to go from the start to the end, and it goes where it goes. And like my last show was a friend of mine that I've known since I met her at Birthing of Giants, and I didn't know she had a problem with obesity, as did I. We both had lost a bunch of weight, and we ended up talking all about that. And I ended up telling her my story, and it was a fun little conversation. But you just said something that triggered me a little bit, not in a bad way. Around values. So I wrote a book about core values and how to basically take core values and build them to scale everything in your life, in business, life, all this stuff. It's specifically around business, but it's around organizations, and you can take most of the principles and apply it to anything.
Yep.
Are you clear on your values for yourself or your business?
Would you like to know my core values?
Of course I would.
So I worked over 2 full days with, his name's Dan Zawacki. And so he founded and sold a company called Lobstergram. That was the first company that imported like live lobsters and lobster tails and to your house or whatever. And so he sold that. You can look all that up, and now he just helps people with EOS traction, that kind of stuff. So I spent 2 full days with him on this. So this is not just bullshit like I'm gonna throw crap against the wall. Work with a very high level person on this for a long time, and he's a great guy, Dan Zawacki. But so this is it. I will read slowly, but these are my company's core values. Synergize with connected, caring givers who always do the right thing. Energize with abundant geniuses who never quit and always respond. And partner with visionary thinkers who epitomize the investment mindset. That is my company's core values. That is my life, everything. That's it.
I think those are awesome, and I think you got to read my book.
I definitely have to read your book.
Because when you read my book, you're gonna be like, "Oh, Darius was kind to me, and he didn't rip into my values."
Wait, please do. I love criticism and constructive.
No. They're amazing core values. They're just I would. There's some design changes I would make, but the content is amazing.
Perfect. Well, right. I'm a journalist.
Yeah, the content's amazing. So my book is a design book. It's how do you design them for scale. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's I'm critical of it, like, because that's where I'm like, I believe that core values, when you design them for scale, they become the language of your business and life. And how big is your team right now?
So my team, if you look at it, I have a couple freelancers that do stuff, but in terms of like how I think of my team is my company's tens of thousands of people like you on a global level, and we're constantly introducing each other. So
that's even more of a reason why I think you should redesign them for scale. And we'll take that offline. But I love the way that there's a beautiful poetry about them. The way the words, and this is your journalist background and being a writer, I'm guessing, like your choice of words are really powerful.
It was and we spent, that's what it was. It was, here's a couple words, cross off a ton of them, focus on these words, and then formulate a couple sentences on each.
So I'm gonna, Justin. This is my give for the day. Okay, I want you to read my book, and when you're done reading my book, we're gonna sit down for an hour and we're gonna talk about your values.
Love it. I'm in.
I can't wait to do it. So and I don't offer that to most people, but I'm offering that to you.
Thanks, man.
I can't wait to do it. So that's badass. I'm stoked you have them. And it sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things. By the way, Dan Zawacki, did he write a book?
That's so interesting. I actually don't know if he did write a book. If he hasn't, I know he is working on one. The core value equation?
Yes.
Ordering it now.
Check it out.
I'm ordering it.
Anyone that's focused on their purpose and values needs to read. Purpose is its own thing. And that, Start With Why is a good book around designing purpose. I think Simon does a good job on that. My book is a great book on how do you design values. What's that?
So I just ordered it. So here's how my brain works. is, so I wrote my book in 43 days, right? Boom, boom,
Nice.
boom. It would take me months to read my book. I am a very slow reader, and I don't have dyslexia or anything like that. So what I need to know from you is, and if you know, what is the point? What's the part I must have to read?
One chapter. I tell people read the intro and read chapters 1 through 5 and the conclusion.
Okay.
And that's about 100 pages. If you do
that will take me probably a month, but I can do it.
And if you want, skip ahead 4 and 5 because that's the design chapters, but the why is chapters 1 through 3. So,
okay.
Yeah, and for those of you that like the audio books, I did a great audio book. So there's something.
Did you read it? Did you do that?
No, you know what's funny is everyone's giving me a hard time about it now. They're like,
no, I had a professional actor do it, and it's really weird hearing a professional. There's one swear in my book. It's in the first sentence. So hearing a professional actor read a swear, it's bizarre. But
I took all the fucks out of my book, which is hard because I love to curse.
Right. My publisher told me I had to take them. Well, she recommended that I take them.
I just did it because I was like, oh, I don't want to. It's about core values, and there's a lot of people that are like faith driven that love values,
right?
And I don't want to alienate them as readers. So I was
totally get it.
Yeah, and dude, and I mean, I'm telling you, I was on this guy John Broman, who's going to be on the show I think next week, which will be a great show. You should check this guy out. Front Row Dads is his organization he runs. It's all around dads living epic lives.
Oh, definitely have to talk to that guy.
Dude, you should check out. Dude, anyone, they're doing their retreat here. I missed the retreat because we had our shows today, and I was like, oh, Jon Broman. So, dude, Roman is a stud, and he asked me what my favorite saying would be. I said, oh, my favorite saying is clear. It's fuck that guy. So it's all around. That's my antithesis of it's my rebellious statement. So for me to have my favorite saying is fuck that guy, I have two favorite sayings. Leadership starts from the top and fuck that guy. Those are my two favorite things. Now, mind you, my number 1 core value is happiness. My number 2 core value is love. My number 3 core value is passion. 4, curiosity. 5, creativity. And number 6 is balance. And I design them. Those are the themes.
You said happiness is one?
It's my number 1 core value. Yeah, I don't do a great job. I fight happiness a lot because I'm a harsh critic of myself. Anyway, I bring all that up because I do believe that when you get clear on your values and your purpose, and you know what your strengths are,
that's everything.
Have a high level of an awareness that it's very easy to be fulfilled, but it's hard to do those things. You know.
So that's one. I cannot believe you haven't been in strategic coach because you sound like a coach within that program. But basically, everything is framed around my unique ability, meaning what I like to do and what I'm good at. So I just do what I like to do and what I'm good at. I don't do anything else. So I work exactly 0 hours every week. None of this is work for me.
Yep.
And I just have a lot of fun doing it. And again, the quest is like, so my 10Xing in life, it's not about revenue. It's not about employee count. It's not about office space. That stuff never really has meant anything to me. It's just two things. One is 10Xing experiences in life with my family, because when you have a good family life, you have a good life. Okay, so that's one. And then 10Xing my network on a global level, because when you do that, you create endless opportunities for your network and for yourself. I
fucking love it, man. 10X your family, 10X your network. I have a mentor, and he's my accountability partner. It's probably one of the more wealthier people I hang out with.
How many mentors do you have, by the way?
Oh God. Like formal people that I talk to on a regular basis, yes. Like regular being quarterly at least.
Yes.
1, 2.
Yep. Keep going. Maybe 3.
Yeah, more.
Do you know how many people start businesses without mentors?
I did.
82% of entrepreneurs.
I didn't start getting mentors till probably the last 5 years. Now I'm in 3 forums, so you get a lot of mentoring, self-mentoring through peer-to-peer groups.
Right.
In fact, my new thing I'm building right now is private forums for people who are trying to like live a higher life, like entrepreneurs that really want to create impact. That's my new business.
Oh my God, that's a mind gold mine. That's a wealth gold mine. That's a network gold mine. because that's all people want. I mean, when you get to a certain level, money doesn't really, it's fine, whatever. It's what you can do with that and what type of impact you can create with that. That's what really matters. And again, if you're living forever, you can just create endless impact. And it's very exciting. So
I love. So tell us about your book a little bit, because we got about 10 minutes left. I want to hear about your book, and then we'll finish on the fourth turning. We're not going to be able to go too deep on it, but I'm going to say something, and I want to hear your thoughts. That'll be our parting thought with everybody. But let's talk about your book. So you wrote the book in 43 days, and that's amazing, man. Congratulations.
Easy. That's easy for me.
Was that your first book? Was that your first book?
Yeah, but I mean, I've been writing my whole life. I mean, so it was easy to do. So what happened was, so again, good timing. October 16th, 2019, I posted a list of 30 things I had learned from some of the top entrepreneurs in the world in the company's first 30 months. So that was what I had learned. So I had 30 months in, 30-month anniversary, here are 30 things. So what happened, I had, at the time, I think I had 35,000 followers on social media. So people are like, holy shit, you have to write a book on that. You have to write a book on that. People were printing out the list and bringing it to meetings. So again, I'm high quick start, high follow through. So I'm like, okay, I'll write a book. So signed with one of the top micro publishers in the United States in like early November, wrote it in 43 days. It came out May 7th. And each one of those lessons is a very quick chapter of like, here's what I learned. Here's how I did it. Here's how I implemented it. And then, Chris Voss, he's wrote one of the top books, business books, entrepreneurial books in the last 20 years, Never Split the Difference. You immediately knew it. Anyone at your level.
It's one of my favorite books I've ever read.
Right. So anyone at your level has either read that book or knows who that is. So that's my tribe. So he wrote the foreword. His son Brandon, who's the president of Black Swan Group, he's in my strategic coach group.
Oh, okay.
Right. So again, network, and Brandon's a great guy. He'd be a great guest for the show as well.
Can you make an intro? I'd love to have him on.
I will do that. I'm putting that in the notes. A lot of notes here. I will do that as soon.
I love it. I connected with his son on LinkedIn after I read the book.
Brandon is a great guy, man. So listen to this. Brandon's the first person that called me the connector. It was our second strategic coach group. He's like, dude, you're just the connector. And what I found is that connecting people on a global level is actually my number one superpower. Is really, I'm one of the best people in getting people news at a high level in the world. I know that about myself. That's not arrogance, that's confidence. But I'm even better at connecting people on a global level. I can talk to someone in Australia and I'll be like, oh, I know someone, they'll say something. I'll be like, oh, I know someone in Sweden or in Canada or in California or in Austin that thinks like that, and I'll just connect them. I just know, I don't write anything down. I just know how to do it. And so he's the first person that like, oh, dude, you're just the connector. So like, it was super exciting. But, getting back to the book, it's been great because, again, I had zero business acumen. And honestly, I still really don't care about any of that nuts and bolts stuff. It doesn't interest me. It's boring. I don't like that. I just like flying up here in the plane. And so the book has really helped people, been like, you built this global company with these type of people in that amount of time. Like, yeah, this is how I did it. Doing these types of things, working with these type of people with this type of mindset. That's really what it's about.
Oh man, that's so cool. By the way, hey, Barry Magliardi and Peter Kozdoy, I'm going to send Justin your way if you guys hear this show. So Justin, I'm going to introduce you to Barry Magliardi, who runs the Game Changers out of Perth, Australia. He has a great show. He just interviewed Gino Wickman and Jordan Harbinger.
I'm talking to Gino tomorrow, man. I'm talking to Gino. Look at this. Boom. Talking to Gino tomorrow. There you go.
Dude, I need to talk to Gino because Gino only wants to talk about his new book, which...
You have it right. There you go. So I will tell him tomorrow.
Boom. Aboard Gino.
You autographed it?
Yeah. He one of my employees used to be his neighbor, and I'm a integral. So for me, I like mixing the I like his EOS L10. I like Vern's one-page strategic plan.
He's a 4683, by the way.
He's a 4683.
Yep.
Interesting.
Which really interesting. He has higher quick start than me, the same follow through. Not as high fact finder, more implementations. So I'll tell him Darius wants you on your show.
So Gino was on Barry's show 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to make an introduction for you guys. If you haven't seen the Game Changer, Barry Magliardi, you got to check him out. I love my boy Barry. And Peter Cossadoy has a really cool live stream. He just wrote the book, Honest to Greatness. And so I'm going to make Justin's I got to make an intro for you because you're going to love these dudes.
Right. So what we're doing right now, this is the value of being in media. That's what this is. That's what it's about. Yeah.
So there's these times in your life where you meet someone and within 55 minutes you're like, dude, you're like having a bromance. Because
yeah, you're my best friend, man. You're my best friend now.
Yeah, dude, this happens on my show, like not all the time, but enough where that's one of the reasons I love doing the show, where right. I'm like, by the way, you don't know this about me. I have a goal every day of making 3 introductions for people without any expectation of anything in return for me.
Yep, so I make minimum of 10 of those, minimum.
A day?
Mm-hmm. Easily.
Wow. Oh, shit.
I've done that for a long time.
That's incredible. Mine's 3, and then I feel
that's higher than 99% people.
It's hard to do. You have to be thoughtful.
For me, it's not. It's really easy. That's what I mean. I can do that immediately.
Yeah. I think you have to have the right mindset for it because I think other people. I noticed very few people do it on my behalf. I do it. I don't even care. I like doing it because I build a lot of. I like building I like building people's networks because I don't know. To your point, like the cream rises to the top.
Oh my God! My dad was 61 when I was born. He died when I was 13. He'd be 104 now. And he was a soldier in World War II. And someone on a podcast asked me, again, there's nothing random that you said that in my opinion. But so his favorite saying was the cream always rises to the top. So that is my favorite saying. Besides abundance mentality is the only mentality. But the cream rises to the top. That's what he said that. From the time I was born to the time he died when I was 13. So that is so much cemented in me.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, man. I appreciate that.
For all I know, your dad I got channeled from your dad somewhere, man. That happened. I believe in that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm a big believer in how energy comes together. And so
there's 7 levels of consciousness. And so most people are ones. I was talking to someone, and I did not used to believe in any of that, but the person who I was talking to, she said I was at a 4 or 5, which she said is insanely high. But the goal is to be at a 7. I'm still learning what all that means. But you're there too. You're in the 4 to 5 range, which most people they're not. They don't.
Yeah, it's no fun being this high.
It's hard to find. It's hard. So she's a 7, and she's like, it's really hard to find another 7. So when I meet someone who might be a 7, I introduce her to that.
That's so cool.
All right, that's how my brain works.
Let's do this. I want to wrap up. This has been amazing, dude. From the Pearl Jam start to the level 7 consciousness finale. 2 things, man. What is your if you could look out into the future, which I know you're a futurist.
Oh, yep.
10 years from now, what do you think is the one thing that you hope is happening that will get us away from some of the troubles we're dealing with today?
Yep. So I'm working on my 10-year plan as we speak. I just had my EO strategy today to work on that. I read you my mission statement in terms of connecting every visionary investment mindset person and sharing their stories with the world. So that's literally what I'm working on now. So I don't have a direct answer because I haven't completely finished it, but the goal is to do that, and by connecting every one of those people, it will solve so many endless problems because it'll all be collaboration. The word competition doesn't exist to me. When someone says you're competitors, I go, I have no competitors. It's all collaboration. And so by doing that with that mission statement, it will, and you're actually helping me formulate this right now, but it'll help create the technology and businesses and partnerships that solve the world's problems. That's what it'll do.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love where your head is. I love all the things you're doing. What a gift to get to meet you and to get to hang out for an
Ditto,
hour.
man. Ditto.
Yeah, what a gift. Guys, Justin, why don't we let everybody know where they can find you, where they can get the book, where they can connect with you, what type of clients you want to come your way.
Right.
We'll get things
Sure.
wrapped.
Okay, we'll land the plane. So you can follow me on LinkedIn, Justin Breen. The book is called, here, I'll hold it up, Epic Business, if that's centered. And so it's on Amazon, Walmart, Target, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, just reach out. But LinkedIn's the best way. I use that as a commercial for other people. I have about 23,000 very high-level followers there. So,
would you promote my book on there? Do you mind? Would that be cool?
send me the link, man.
I'll send you a link for it. I would love that because I'm.
I'll tag you in it and everything.
That would be awesome. I would appreciate that. Oh man, like I said, what a gift! We're gonna go offline and close it out here for a few minutes. I'm doing a presentation for a bunch of venture funded startups here in 30 minutes. So I got to get ready for that. But guys, what a great so here's the cool thing, Justin. This is show number 92. I started this July 8th. And we've done 92 shows. After I launched my book, I pulled way back because I was like, all right, I can't do. I was doing like 13 shows a week at one point.
Oh God. Yeah,
I was a maniac. That's what happens when you take like a gnarly CEO and put him in his house without work for. my kids are like, Dad, how many shows do you do today? I'm like, 4.
Oh my God.
But it was fun. And like the connector part was great. So I dialed it back and now I'm doing like 1 or 2 shows a week, and it's going to 1 show a week starting next month. But this is such a great, I get so energized by spending this time with you, my friend. It was really fun. Thank you.
My best friend, man. Virtual hug.
Big hugs, man. And stay on for 2 minutes after I close out the show. But guys, we got your link. You know to find it. Your website for your business. Did you give us that?
Yes. Yes. See, I'd land the plane. BrepicLLC.com. B as in boy, R-E, P as in pony, I-C as in cobra, LLC.com.
BrepicLLC.com. You guys check him out. I'm telling you, when you can get a brain like my man Justin's here to help you with your PR, that's so invaluable. So guys, hook up on that. Check out the book. On my side, look, we're wrapping up the week. I'll see you guys next week. John Vroman is on, head of Front Row Dads. That is, dude, I was on his show. He's got a great podcast for any of you guys that are dads that really want to learn, or if your moms that want to know what dads are thinking, check it out. I mean, John's doing some amazing stuff. We're going to have a fun show next week, and he's a great guest. I was on his show and I had a lot of fun, but had so much fun this week, man. This really made my day. I really appreciate you spending time with us, Justin. I'm really excited for the business and the things you're doing to create the future we all want to live in. And I'm glad to be able to connect with you and for us to maybe do some stuff together. And this is a great start for our relationship. So thank you, my friend. Much gratitude.
I do a lot of podcasts. This is top 3 I've ever done.
I love it, man. Thank you. I love doing it, and I love having great people like you. That said, guys, on my side, dude, get the book if you haven't got it. We're out there promoting it. Tomorrow, I'm speaking on, if you're at the Inc. 5000 conference, I'm going to be speaking at Inc. 5000 tomorrow and Friday. So check that out if you guys are at the Inc. conference. I'll be speaking with Kevin Dom, who his new book just came out. And Kevin and I.
God, dude.
You know Kevin?
Not as well as I know you, but
yeah, Kevin's an old friend. So Kevin and I are going to be battling on the Inc. stage. But get the book, sign up at The Real Darius M on Facebook, subscribe to the show at The Real Darius on YouTube, or go to my website, www.therealdarius.com. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming out right now. I want to tell, that especially in November, Greatness Collaborative, I'm going to be starting to talk about that. That's the private forum that I'll be putting some opportunities out for the right people to apply for. And I think besides that, the course comes out too for the book. So the course comes out next month. I'm excited for that. With that said, excited to talk to all you guys next week. And dude, what a great show. I love it. Thank you so much, Justin. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.